And away we go. What is up, Broncos country? We'll give this second a stream, or the second a stream a second to you let everybody come on in the door as we get our technology up and running because we have a huge show. Do you know why it's a huge show? It's NFL Draft Eve. Thomas Hall, how we doing?
Doing great, man. Just excited to see what happens in the first round tomorrow. You know, there's a lot of speculation and nobody knows, so that's always fun.
The Broncos have a chance to right some wrongs of the 2024 season, to get further than they ever thought could be possible. Remember last year, we didn't exactly think, first-round rookie quarterback's going to immediately turn them into a playoff team. How far can this team go in 2025, assuming they get it right tomorrow night? Are they going to trade up? Are they going to trade down? Do they sit tight at 20? All I know is the season for mock drafts is just about up. Guys, if you do want to check out the mock drafts, head on over to milehighhuddle.com. Our guys have the latest from all the experts, right? The McShays of the world, the Kuipers of the world, Dane Brugler, anyone and everyone that you could think of. I don't know, Tom. I don't get a real good feel for what's going on at all because I don't know who to believe these days, Tom. I mean, it's the season of lies. It's just about up. I've been banging the Ashton Jeanty drum for as long as I can remember. You've been trying to tell me you're not sure if he's within reach. I'm starting to believe you a little bit, but it does feel like running back as we sit here just 12, 13 hours away from Broncos' first-round pick. They will not be at number 20. I am here to declare it right now on MHI.
Well, I mean, if you go with Sean Payton's history, he's going to move up in the first round, not move back. But I actually think it's a running back or wide receiver. I've been talking about both of those this entire time, and I think that's, if they don't come away with one of those two, they're probably going to be a little disappointed in my mind. And it's not just because I want them; it's because the team needs them, and the way they've been talking about some of these positions, it seems like they're trying to steer people away from them. Everyone thinking they're going to go with a wide receiver. So that's why I feel like they're kind of downplaying it all.
Well, listen, man, we're going to get into all of it and more, all the rumors for the draft. What's Sean Payton thinking? What are some of the Broncos insiders thinking? Anything and everything. We want to hear from you on this NFL Draft Eve. We are the final show before the draft starts. We will have the MHH Draft War Room going live and through the draft. Tune in, stay locked in here at MHH. David Yonkin kicking us off with a very generous $4.99 over on YouTube. Guys, what's up on Instagram? We got Instagram up and rolling. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on X. We're on Facebook. We are anywhere and everywhere. If you are listening on podcasts, we appreciate our Spotify, our iTunes listeners as well. David Yonkin weighing in. Yes or no? Patriots at 4, Jags at 5. Which team takes Jeanty? I think the Jags are ultimately giving it up. They're going to be shopping that 5 pick because Lord knows they need the help down there in Jacksonville. Part of me thinks the Broncos are in on these trade conversations because if you're Sean Payton, how could you not be? I yelled at you all Wednesday last week, Tom, saying, what do you want Sean Payton to do? Do you want the Las Vegas Raiders to draft Ashton Jeanty? Do you want to see Ashton Jeanty run over Vance Joseph's defense? Not me. That's why I'm hoping the Broncos figure out a way to deal with Jacksonville.
Yeah, it seems a little early for Jeanty for me. For some reason, I feel like he's going to slip a little bit farther than 4 or 5, but I mean, you never know. Obviously, these teams might really covet him. But yeah, if I was going to pick, it's the Jags probably over the Patriots picking him. But yeah, I feel like he's going to get Broncos country excited because he's going to slip a little bit closer to where it feels like the Broncos can jump up and grab him. But ultimately he's going to be taken a little too early.
Well, if Jeanty's slipping, then maybe Shador's not tripping because that's all I see today in the timeline. Shador Sanders, he's tanking in the draft. He's fallen. Teams are upset with him. All these anonymous scouts and coaches comes out every year, right? We totally expect these things. We will talk quarterback. How could Shador Sanders affect the Denver Broncos? You might want to check this one out in here in just a little bit. But Papa Bear, what's up, David? $5 over on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Good evening, Broncos country. Luke, Tom, and Deegan Scott. It's MHH for life. SEAL Team Knicks. Let's go, Bo. I am ready for the draft. David, what is your NFL draft preparation, your tradition? Tom, and I'd love to hear it from you and the rest of Broncos country as well. Do you have to sit in a dark room all by yourself? You can't be by the wife and kids because you're a nervous wreck? Or are you out and about enjoying your day, whimsically checking your phone? Let me know in the chat line, because I'm a nervous wreck the entire time, Tom, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, especially in the first round. Now, the seventh round, sixth round, I'm not sitting there chewing my fingernails or anything like that. But the first round, this is huge for the Broncos. They can't screw it up.
Yeah, well, the first round for me is I'm usually tired because it used to be by the time I got to the Broncos, it was very late, So on the East Coast now, I'm going to be up super late watching it. I used to be like really nervous about it and everything. Now I'm always doing something and just checking back to see, because the ticker's always there, so I can always just go back and check the ticker. So I'm I'm not a nervous wreck anymore, and really now that what the Broncos seem to have is a franchise quarterback, there's less pressure on them to find that quarterback. And then there's more flexibility for what they're going to do this time. So I feel like it's less of a, stressful time.
I don't know. I completely disagree. It almost feels like an election, right? Because you don't want your guy to screw up or lose, or, it's just, the anxiety, the excitement. Man, I can't. What do you think Sean Payton feels, or George Payton? How do you think they're feeling right now? Just 12, 13 hours away from the NFL draft. Are we feeling cool, calm, and confident? Are we nervous? Are we putting our hat in the ring that the Broncos are trading up because we want everybody to think we're interested in a player, hoping somebody else drops down? I mean, what's the gamesmanship? What do you think the mood is like over there at Broncos Country HQ?
I bet they're calm right now because they've done all the preparation they can. They've run through all the scenarios, but I bet you it gets a lot more tense when that player is sitting there kind of falling towards them a little bit, and they're wondering if that player's going to be there and if they should make a move to jump up and get him. So they can get a little anxious there, but I bet right now they're kind of going over a little bit, but I bet they're pretty well relaxed. I mean, they've spent tons of time putting together, all these evaluations. They've put together all of these, scenarios. I think they've ran through it so many times. It's just like your own job. You ran through it so many times. You're ready to go. I think they're ready to go, but it might be a little more hectic on draft day.
Well, we don't want them to be too relaxed, right? Always some teams that are sleeping on the job, asleep at the wheel, if you will. Then you do have the other teams that are panicking, and you like to think the preparation's there. You like to think that Sean and George have an idea of where this thing can go. No one has an idea of where it's going to go. The Broncos are going to have to be active. They're going to have to check out the hunt and stay on the list for underdogs. And guys, speaking of underdogs, do you ever watch sports and find yourself wishing there was a way to get into the game? Well, let's go. With Underdog, there's finally a way to make picks on sports without leaving the house. The game is in your hands.
To play, choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats, like touchdowns, strikeouts, points scored, and more. They've got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. Create entries with all baseball picks or mix and match across other sports. You can play with as little as $1, and if you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. So turn $1 into 1,000 just with your sports knowledge.
Boom, that's right. I absolutely love playing Underdog, guys. Download the Underdog app, sign up now using the promo code MHuddle to unlock a special offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your very first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up with promo code MHuddle. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon your very first deposit.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply, void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Arizona 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8 Hope NY or text Hope NY.
Boom, guys, it's Wednesday night. It's MHI. It's the eve before the NFL draft. He is Thomas Hall. I am Luke Patterson. This is MHI, where you can catch us every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain. If you'd like to reach out to Tom over on X, please do so. That's at Thomas Hall NFL. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP. Follow the mothership at Mile High Huddle and head on over to milehighhuddle.com. We are rocking with you guys for the remainder of the hour. We are spitting the NFL rumor mill, rather. We're getting into your favorite prospects. I want to know what your favorite draft day scenario is, your nightmare draft day scenario, some of your draft day traditions. Who do you like to listen to? Who do you like to stay away from? Who can't you wait to criticize and say, Luke, you were wrong. Ha, I told you. We will get into all that and more. David Kilgore been very patient, very generous tonight over on YouTube, a 1999 Super. Guys, is there any truth to the rumor that the Denver Broncos are talking to the Cleveland Browns about the number 2 overall pick, looking at one Travis Hunter?
I saw that. It's nonsense. It was from some account that's just trying to create something. It would cost so much to move up that it's unrealistic. And you only do that if you're moving up for a quarterback and you're desperate for a quarterback. You don't move up to get a corner or a corner / wide receiver, no matter how good they are. You just don't do it. So I don't think there's any truth to it whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't either. Is this one of those per source social media things? You know how I feel about that in
I don't
general,
even think
right?
it was a source. I think it was just some account trying to generate something.
Yeah, that's too rich, man. When you've got the reigning defensive player of the year and Patrick Surtain at the cornerback position, you don't need another. Now, would I be through the moon and thrilled? Yes. Talk about my dream scenario. That's a dream scenario because you can't even begin to think it's a possibility here in Denver. I can't imagine what it cost to move up 18 spots from 20 to 2. I suppose anything is possible. Cleveland can get out of their own way. I'm starting to feel good for Hunter, right? I don't want Travis to go to Cleveland. He doesn't deserve that. And they're not going to be able to help themselves. They're going to take a quarterback, right? Can't we all see the Cleveland Browns taking a quarterback? It's what they do in Cleveland. They screw up the pick every single year. They hardly ever trade it down, right? Man, David, that would be amazing. I know Travis Hunter has said ad nauseum that he would love to stay here in Colorado. He absolutely has fallen in love with the people and the Broncos country and the fan base up the road in Boulder, but I do not see it happening. Pie in the sky, Travis Hunter wearing a number 12? Who's wearing 12 right now for the Broncos? Could I see it? No. Would I love it? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I would take him in a heartbeat. To have him on the other side of Pat Surtain would be amazing. Plus, if you think about it, he wants to play both ways. Now, I don't know if you can do it as much as he is hoping to do it, but it gives you a little bit more roster flexibility. You have a guy who can play corner and wide receiver, and you can slot him in when necessary. I think it gives you the team a little bit of flexibility in the roster, so it would be kind of fun. But I just, like you said, it's pretty unrealistic to see them move up there to get him. Now, for some reason he falls for whatever reason, then, if he gets into the 10 range, then you can start talking about potential move ups.
Speaking of move ups, move downs, do the Broncos stay where they're at? I wanted to pick your brain on this. I don't know if you saw yesterday. Sean Payton's daughter has Broncos country all up in a tizzy, wondering if she is possibly alluding to a prospect that her dad could favor. And it was pretty interesting. Obviously, I'm talking about Megan Payton, right? Very successful young lady, social media podcaster. I mean, does a lot, is a huge success in her own right. She posted a mock draft yesterday on X that set Broncos country ablaze, suggesting the Broncos are going to pick up North Carolina running back Omarion Hampton at pick number 20. Is this a smoke signal move trying to help out Pops, or is Megan onto something that most of Broncos country has been on since last January?
It would be hilarious if it was a smoke screen, if he actually got her to do that as a smoke screen. I'm sure she's not privy to the knowledge of who they want to draft and which player is going to be there. But it would be, like I said, it would be pretty darn funny if he was able to pull off that sort of smoke screen and people bought it by having his daughter run a mock draft. That would be that would be up there with Shanahan not even talking to Mobley kind of thing. and then drafting him. So it'd be way up there in my book of those smoke screens that worked out.
Well, and maybe didn't George have some sort of smoke screen and gamesmanship with Pat Surtain too? Like I think I remember him saying at the end of the presser, like after they drafted him, yeah, I personally stayed away from some of these pro days, had scouts down there, didn't want people to know that I was falling all over myself for him because George Payton has never met a corner he hasn't loved, let alone Pat Surtain. To be fair, Megan Payton also said, quote, now Denver has the 20th overall pick, so I don't think that Ashton Genty falls that far. This would have to be a trade-up situation where the Broncos trade up to maybe 9 or 10, but I really love the way that he would fit in this Broncos offense. It's running back. Megan Payton's telling us her dad is going to pick a running back. If he doesn't, Sean will be the first person spitting into the microphone at the end of the draft saying, ha, 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 just like he did with the quarterback scenario last year. Remember, he couldn't wait to get up there and fall all over himself, giving himself a huge pat on the back saying, JJ McCarthy, I fooled all of you.
Yeah, like I said, it would be amazing if they did, if he did fool everybody with that. But one thing I will say is if Genty gets, I think the sweet spot for trading up for the Broncos is like the 12 to 15 range. I think that's the right amount of capital that they have to give up to get up to there, to get one of those prospects they really like. Genty falling to 9 or 10, I think maybe is a little too rich for their blood.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We both are under the nightmare scenario that to get to top 10 is going to be multiple first round picks, this year's second, probably, maybe a Cortland Sutton and something else. Is that fair to say? I mean, about 4 things?
Well, I mean, it depends on how far up in the top 10 for sure. I mean, if you're going up to top, 6, if you're going to 6, yeah, it's going to require a lot. I just think it's too rich, but
how much, Tom? I gotta know. How much is you can't say it's too much and not tell me what it is because I'm about ready to give up the house to go get this kid from Boise State. I really am.
Yeah, I think to get up to that range, you're giving up a future first round, including your first round that you have this year, and multiple other picks. And maybe not another first rounder, but a second and a third probably to get up there. I mean, that would be the bare minimum, and maybe throwing in a player. So it may not, depending on who's there, it may not require 3 first round picks to move up there, but it's going to be too rich for my blood. When if you wait until 12, 13, or 14, it's a first rounder and maybe your second rounder to get up, to move 6, 7, 8 picks up. And I think that's a little more palatable for this Broncos organization.
It would certainly go over really well with the fan base, right? Because let's assume they do put that Ashton Genty trade together and they're able to nab him. Man, talk about pressure, right? Not just for the young guy coming out of Boise State, but Sean Payton. I mean, man, now you're attached to a first-round running back and a first-round quarterback. The first-round quarterback you didn't have to trade up to go get. The first-round running back, as you've pointed out on Legends and on this show, it hasn't always worked through the course of time. And coaches have given up a king's ransom to go get a coveted running back. I can't miss generational running back, right? We hear that all the time. Each year there's a new position, same adjectives, and you get burned. They get burned. That's the franchise back, something the Broncos are hoping to avoid. Speaking of setting the franchise back, David Yonke coming in. The Browns are going to take Ashton Genty at number 2. Would that surprise anyone? I mean, talk about ruining the draft. A lot of people think some trades are going to shake up the draft. The Browns could just ruin the draft by picking number 2 for a lot of teams.
Absolutely. And it would be hilarious if they did do it, something like that, take a running back at number 2. I know Genty, he seems like a all world talent. It seems like he's a no-brainer, but this is the thing. The GMs, the teams of scouts, all these professionals, all these testing, everything that they do, they've got teams of people doing it. 24% of first round prospects miss. That means they're not even primary starters for their team. At least 50% of the time they're in the NFL. That's almost a quarter of first round prospects that are missed. So you want to trade a bunch to go get one guy? I shy away from it. I don't mind trading something to go up and get your guy, but not a king's ransom, just because you never know who's going to be that miss. You don't know who the injured player is going to be. You don't know about their work ethic. You can't predict that, the Paxton Lynch of the group, it just doesn't want to go out there and do the work. So you never know who that draft.
How dare you bring up Paxton Lynch? I see Ashton Genty, and he's getting a lot of heat up there in Green Bay because he's like, there's nothing to do up here. He could be playing Xbox like Paxton Lynch, and he's not doing it. He'd be telling us, I'm having the time of my life gaming with Kyler Murray and everybody. He's not doing that, Tom.
I'm not saying he would do it. I'm just saying you don't know who the draft bust is going to be. It's really tough to trade that much when if you have more picks, you have more of a chance of landing somebody versus the other way around. Now, I'm not saying you got to be, a trade back king and always trade back and collect more picks, because then you've just got a whole bunch of players who are pretty good role players, but you don't have those impact players. You go get your guy. You just can't spend way too much to go do it, is all I'm saying.
Do you plan on picking in the top 10 next year if you're the Denver Broncos?
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. You don't know who's going to be the next Ashton Genty at the college level, right? This running back class is being touted as one of the best ever from many experts that I respect and like and read and check out. And I believe them. I guess I'd take that for face value. Time will tell, as you're alluding to. Tons of other finds. That's something else that's really, really interesting. You can read about it over at milehighhuddle.com. I mean, there are all kinds of different running backs you can get in second, third, fourth. And that's why some Broncos country fans and you, Tom, are saying maybe you go after T-Mac out of Arizona, right? Maybe you do go tight end with Loveland. I don't think that's going to happen. I've been checking around, poking around. It sounds like Colston Loveland. I know the Colts are putting it out there that they don't need a tight end. I think the Colts like Colston Loveland a little bit, just a little bit, checking in. I think, speaking of smoke screens, that tends to make a little bit of sense. So I don't think Colston Loveland is going to be there at 20 if the Broncos were to stick. Good friend of the show, Cecil Lammy, he's been checking in. Omarion Hampton. You're going to have to trade up for an Omarion Hampton, possibly, something the Broncos need to look at.
Yeah, and it all really depends on how that first 10 picks really go, how this draft's going to fall. If quarterbacks start getting taken early, and we see quarterbacks who probably shouldn't be taken that early, that teams are smitten with, get taken a little early, and they start, then you start to really think, okay, there's some blue chippers that are coming down into the range, and we're going to trade up and go get them. I could see that happen. Now, the opposite would be that there isn't a run on quarterbacks. They all kind of slip. And then you're sitting there with several quarterbacks that you're like, don't want. And then you're, okay, well, what do we do now? So the best scenario for the Broncos is to see Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders, Jackson Dart, all these quarterbacks start going way before they're predicted to go. Well, I think Cam Ward's predicted to go number 1, but you know what I mean? So that's the scenario you want to see. You want to see those quarterbacks pushing the blue chippers down to the early teens.
And we'll talk about the quarterbacks in here just a little bit. It's nice that the Broncos don't have to be in the hunt for a quarterback. But speaking of hunts, guys, the Great Rewards Hunt is on. So join the adventure with DraftKings Casino. For fun seekers, follow the trail to huge jackpots, 3 weekly bonuses, and exclusive games. But the excitement is only getting started because new players sign up with the code MileHighPod and wager a minimum of $5 to receive 500 casino spins on a featured game. Only on the most rewarding place to play, DraftKings Casino. Again, that's code MileHighPod.
That's right. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus, physically present in Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only. Void in Connecticut and Ontario. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Non-withdrawable. Casino spins valid for featured game only and expire in 168 hours. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/promo. Ends 4/27/25 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern.
Boom, Broncos country. It's NFL Draft Eve. Let us know, who are the Broncos going to take and how are they going to get your favorite prospect to the Mile High City? Is it going to cost a lot to go get that gem, or is somebody going to slip right into the Broncos' hands at 20? Do the Broncos trade down? I don't think it's going to happen, but crazier things have happened. Remember, Sean's crazy, but crazy like a fox. Our guy Larry coming in. No filter. I love that. No filter, Larry. What's up? Hi, Luke and Tom. My name is Larry Patterson. No relation to you, I think, Luke. Don't say it like it's a bad thing, Larry. What about Loveland in the first and Henderson or Caleb Johnson in the second?
Well, that's interesting. Loveland to me would be a fine pick. So don't take this the wrong way when I say this. I feel like tight end is a good tight end. And if you look at the numbers, they're available in the second and third round. That's why I shy away from drafting a first round tight end, not because of the folks that are there. They're good players. I just feel like you can find them later. So for me, it's you get that blue chipper that you really need, like a star running back, star wide receiver in that first round, and then you look to second or third for the tight end. That's why I would actually flip this a little bit, and I would think more on the Henderson side and then hit somebody in that second or third round, maybe Ferguson out of Oregon in the third round, something like that, that you can maximize your the potential of hitting on those prospects. If you look at the analytics, which I have done, I mean, and I just said it, 24%, almost a quarter of these first rounders are busts. So if you look at the numbers and you see where the position value falls, it will help you as an organization to hedge your bets, so to speak. After all the poking and prodding, all the interviews, all of that, you know who you like. You got to hedge your bet on those positions and where they typically hit on in these rounds. And that's why I would kind of flip that. Although I'd like Loveland a lot. I think he will be a good player.
I like Loveland too. I don't need him here in Denver right now because you had Evan Ingram. I think running back and tight end were very viable options before Evan Ingram. I don't know if Evan Ingram is Sean Payton's Joker. You know, that unicorn thing he keeps talking about that none of us know what the hell it looks like, at least here in Denver. I know what it looks like with Jimmy Graham. I know what it looks like with Reggie Bush. I know what it looks like in New Orleans 30 years ago. I want to know what it looks like in the modern NFL with the Denver Broncos. I don't know if that's Evan Ingram, but it kind of checked a box for me, so to speak. And that doesn't mean the tight end position is figured out. What that means is the Broncos have to execute some sort of fiscal responsibility when it comes to upgrading their positional rooms. You can't upgrade the entire tight end room all at once. You can't go sign a big stud free agent and then go draft a first round tight end, double down on that, and think that the running back position is going to sort itself out with Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin. All right. That's just not how my brain works. I don't think that's how Sean Payton's brain works. He's too impatient. The guy can't help himself. Caleb Johnson, I like a lot, though. I think Nick Kendall would go out and buy the very first jersey that's sold. He's a physical, strong runner. Again, there's another back that you could get in the later rounds, and this is a hard choice. I know I'm making it sound like, oh, just give the house to go get Ashton Jeanty. I don't know that Ashton Jeanty's even going to be there. I don't see him getting outside the top 5. Now, maybe there's a run on quarterbacks. I don't know. Maybe some team decides, Shador, these rumors, they're not true. We're going to go get him. It's hard to say. The Jackson Darts of the world, I don't think they're going to affect the first round for the Broncos, but maybe in the second. Maybe if the Broncos want to trade back up into the first, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think you're going to see 3 tight ends selected in the first round. I also can see a world where Trevion Henderson is gone in the first. I still have a second round grade on him, but he's climbing. If I'm Denver, I'm not just praying and hoping a guy like Omarion Hampton falls. And Sue Gibson weighing in, a very generous $4.99 over on YouTube. What is up, Sue? I know you're ready for draft night. Love you guys. Thank you, Sue. We love you. Who would you guys like to see the Broncos take at 20?
Yeah, it's funny that we were just kind of talking about that, and I was thinking, like, for me, if I really were my primo guy would be Jeanty. He's not going to be there at 20. I don't think we can fool ourselves into thinking that's going to happen. But for me, I think that the wide receiver out of Ohio State, Egbuka, if I'm saying that right, I would like to see him at 20 and then Caleb Johnson in the second round. I think that's an optimal pick up where you secure 2 positions of need with 2 really good players at those spots. I really like that scenario. I know that the Broncos keep talking about how they don't need wide receivers. I don't see it. I was not impressed with their wide receiver room. I think they were okay. I'm not sold on Franklin. I think Cortland Sutton, they may extend him, but he's still not too much longer with the Broncos. You got to prepare for the future. That's why I feel like wide receiver is still an option at 20. I'd like to kind of fall that way, so you kill two birds with one stone and you get two pretty darn good players at those spots.
Listen, it's not a foregone conclusion that Cortland Sutton's entire career will be played here in Denver, Colorado. This man continues to come up in trade conversations, it feels like every other week, since as long as he's been a Bronco. I don't know. I'm not suggesting the Broncos trade Cortland Sutton for nothing just because I want him out of here, but it's a nice sell to a team if you're trying to trade up, if you're trying to put a package together when you do have a Cortland Sutton who is aging, but he's coming off of one of his best statistical seasons with a rookie quarterback. I mean, that might be an easy sell. I think if that happened, it would be for a wide receiver, right? You'd have to get younger. You couldn't just give up one of your only X. He's your only X receiver. All right. When Tim Patrick went away, and I know we all like Devon Bailey, but guy's got to get in the weight room, and I hope that he does. It's just, I don't know what the future holds for Cortland Sutton. You know, Sean Payton likes to move players during the draft too, whether that's going to get them or adding them in a trade package. Coach is very, very aggressive. So, Sue, we really, really appreciate all of your support. Thank you very much. David Yonkin, man, super active every Wednesday night on all the shows. An absolute superstar. We appreciate you, brother. First time in a decade that we can talk about any other player besides quarterback. Wow. Yeah, let's talk about quarterback for just a second, since we have that embarrassment of riches in one Bo Chapman Nix. I love saying that. Chapman, right? And I don't know, people got after me the other day. You know, Bo was at the Nuggets game 1 in the playoffs against the LA Clippers, and the sheriff Peyton Manning was in the house as well. And I'm like, no beer for Bo, you know, people are like, he doesn't drink. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Just checking. Because, you know, usually when they go to that shot, they want him to chug something or do something. And, you know, Peyton always has to throw a football anytime they show him on a Jumbotron. Poor guy has to throw a football into the stands. So it's cool to see Bo out there supporting the Nuggets. Huge shout out to the Avs tonight, man. They're tied up in a series 1-1 with the Dallas Stars over at Ball Arena. We got to get that one, a big one. Don't be surprised if you see some Broncos on the Jumbotron there. Shedeur Sanders, what do you make of all the smoke? Apparently there's some anonymous coaches out there, scouts out there. We heard about this back at the Combine, that his attitude rubbed people the wrong way. Now some people are saying he's just not good at football. What's your take on Shedeur Sanders? Do you have a first round grade on him? Where would you select him if you're a team that needs a quarterback like the Steelers, perhaps the Giants? Where do you think a good spot is for one Shedeur Sanders?
Well, I think a QB needy team should take him early because he's a winner. He plays really well out on the field. Yeah, he's got an attitude, but you've sat here and talked about needing that attitude in the Broncos on the Broncos team for a long time. You got Bo Nix, you know, he's out there with the wide eyes, you know, giving it to the Raiders or getting after Coach Payton because of what he said. I mean, I don't mind it. He's not out there causing trouble, right? He's just got a big ego. Well, okay, he's getting paid millions of dollars to play a game. I probably would have a big ego if I was as good as him as well.
And he's a Sanders. He's the Sanders.
Yeah. And Neon Dion had a huge ego when he came in. He was taken, 4th overall, ended up having a Hall of Fame career. I would, if I were teams, I would stop with the BS and take the quarterback. That if you need a quarterback, take Shedeur Sanders and don't think anything else about it. Put him in a good position to succeed, and you know he probably will. That's all I'm saying. Just do it. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, watching him from a distance here in the Mile High City, and I haven't been up to Boulder, but my wife went to see you. I've lived in Boulder. I could tell you how much Shedeur, Travis, and Coach Prime and the rest of the Buffs have revived this state and this community, and I respect him and I appreciate him for that. He rubs me the wrong way with some of his stuff. I think he wants everyone to anoint him when he hasn't arrived yet. He hasn't quite done anything just yet with his old legendary. Everything's legendary. I have a first round grade on him too. And that's not to say he doesn't have faults. That's not to say he doesn't have tells. Every quarterback does. But this guy has talent, and I think he's a hard worker. The biggest tool I look at when evaluating a quarterback is his brain. And I know Shador puts in the work. I can see the improvements on the field. And I'm not even a quarterback expert like a JT O'Sullivan from the QB school, right? Or a quarterback whisperer that takes all your high school football players' money and promises them the world. No, I'm not any of that. I'm just a guy that likes to see improvements. And you can see that with the Buffs and Shador. So I don't know. I think the Steelers make sense. But the Giants, man, come on. Like, we would all sign up for HBO Hard Knocks if we could figure that out. What's the locker room look like with Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson? It's only missing Shador Sanders.
Yeah. And the Giants, I think, will end up kicking themselves if they don't take them down the road, because they'll still be looking for a quarterback and somebody else will be having success with Shador Sanders. And I think they're going to kick themselves for not doing it. But, that's the thing. If they're believing the rumors that are being thrown around about him, and they're like, oh, well, we better not, he seems like an attitude problem. You've got an attitude problem already in your quarterback room. You went out and got Russell Wilson. I'm sorry. The guy has an ego too. And he's not as good a player anymore. So you've already got that problem. Bring another one in and see who ends up winning the starting job.
I just want to see Russell Wilson tell Shador Sanders to carry my shoulder pads out of practice. Can we all just see that, or any quarterback? I'm here for that. I don't know if you saw the social media video. He's throwing shade to whoever the quarterback was in Seattle or whoever the quarterback was in Pitt. As Daddy would say, that's bull jive. Phil McLaughlin coming in. Good evening, Luke Thomas, Deacon Scott. I'm pretty sure this board is going to determine if the Broncos stay, they go up, or they go down. I think they're going D on the – wow, you and Nick Kendall both. Nick and I were screaming at each other over the weekend on text messages because, I'm putting out there in the world that it's all but a certainty the Broncos are going running back, tight end, wide receiver, offense. And he's like, not so fast, Big Cat. I think they could go after a D lineman. You've suggested – looking at edge rushers because you always need to improve there. But George does his homework. But Phil, no way, man. Sean is calling the shots here. Georgie's in charge. Yeah, I'm with you. And maybe you see a slide on an Abdul Carter. Maybe George wants to go up and get him. It's not happening with Sean. I love you, Phil. I appreciate you. And Lord knows the defense needs to improve, but I cannot see the Broncos going like defensive tackle. Let's say that, right? At pick number 20. No way.
Yeah. I can see it if the right player falls down to that position, right? Like if they really like a defensive lineman and
Kenneth Grant
that happens
Kenneth
to be
Grant,
there.
Walter Nolan, you want them at 20? Come on.
And the offensive firepower that they really wanted was gone. I could see it. The problem I have with it is we all watched the games last year. The weakness really was on offense. They did not have an impact player at running back, wide receiver, or tight end. They went out and got a tight end. They say they're happy with their wide receiver room. I don't believe them. And they've done nothing with their running back room. I think that it's almost that they, in order to become a real contender, to get into that next step, to compete for the division title, I think the defense is still good enough. I don't think the offense is. I think they need to add that impact player on offense. And that's why I think they're focusing on offense. Now, they could take a defensive player because the way the board falls. And I think you're right that it all depends on how the board falls. But I think they're targeting an offensive player. And I think they want to get somebody who's going to give them that next step into competing in the playoffs. Because we all saw they could not compete against the Buffalo Bills.
This is why I love Broncos country. Most knowledgeable fan base ever, because Phil knows I'm so excited and giddy about a potential first-round running back, but he's like, dude, not so fast. Look, the defense can improve too, and Phil knows I love me some defense, so huge mile-high salute to you, Phil. Really appreciate you for keeping me on my toes and on my game here every Wednesday night. Sean Brian Wolderich over on Facebook. Guys, Facebook stars, we really appreciate you guys too. Anywhere and everywhere you watch MHI every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain, we love and we appreciate you. Sean weighing in, a first-round wide receiver, potentially second round, trade up, tight end, third round running back. Interesting. First-round wide receiver, Sean, who do you like? Let me know in the chat, and I will fire it up. You brought up the kid from Ohio State. I butcher his name, Egbuka. Trey Harris, I think right underneath him. Jaden Higgins of the world, I don't think he's being talked enough about. 6'4", 214 out of Iowa State. I don't want Matthew Golden. Nothing against Matthew Golden, but enough. All right, we have enough of the speed demon wide receiver. I need some big bodies. I need some wide receivers that can block. I know that's a lot to ask of a first round young pup coming into the NFL, right? Go block Pat Surtain all summer in training camp. Good luck. No, it's just one of these things. You've got to do it if you're going to commit to the running game. And I like it. First round wide receivers, man. There's no way I could see the Broncos going up for T-Mac out of Arizona. I mean, he's the bona fide star of the wide receiver class. I know Chad's big on Luther. I like Luther a lot too. I don't know if the Broncos, if there was a slip, maybe. Luther's getting hot on everybody's boards. He has been for a long time. Maybe you could trade up in the second round and try to clip at people's heels a little bit and go get this cat out of Mizzou. I don't know, man. It's going to be hard to say.
Yeah, I'm with you, Sean. I still am on the wide receiver in the first round if the right one's there, not forcing it. I would flip the tight end and running back. Go get that running back you need in the second, and then see what's there in the third round for the tight end. Only because that's what the analytics tell me when you look at the probability for success on those positions. Now, sure. I would not be opposed to having it fall the way you're saying, because I think all three of these positions are positions that the Broncos have to address. But again, just the analytics tells me to flip it, and that's the only reason I'm saying that.
I like the trade up in the second, Sean. I really do. I could see that. I mean, a lot of great players come out of the second round every single year, and it's deep. There's a lot of the premium picks 1 through 3, right? And I sometimes even extend it to 4, depending on the draft class. More Facebook stars. Cody Dubs, all about getting dubs every Wednesday night here on MHI. What if running back to Denver in the first round is the smoke screen? Sutton is getting older. Vele's already 27. What other big body wide receiver do we have for the? You don't, Cody. You're exactly right. That's why Tom's like, dude, I know the running back cabinet is bare, but wide receiver, it's very young, and we need some experience, and we need some dogs in there. And you couldn't have Tim Patrick here forever. Cortland Sutton's not going to be here forever. What kind of leap do you expect Devon Bailey to make in year 2?
And that's what I've been talking about. We know what Cortland Sutton is like. I mean, he's a good wide receiver. He does not scare defensive coordinators. He just doesn't. And I like Cortland Sutton. I think his knee injury really kind of stunted his growth. I think he could have been a lot better than what he ended up being, but that knee injury kind of stunted that growth, so to speak. Vele, I like him too. You know, he was a surprise coming in, playing really well as a rookie. I just don't see him turning into that difference maker either. Mims could be, he might be that difference maker if he can put it all together and get it out there on the field. But he's that smaller speedster guy. I want them to go out and get a true difference maker, someone who's, big, fast, who can make contested catches and get out there and really kind of scare defenses a little bit, which is not what they've been doing for the last couple of years. I just don't see it. That's why I just keep talking about wide receiver, meaning we need someone that can really stretch that field, make a difference, and open up some other opportunities that I don't think really were there last year to the extent it could have been with the receivers that they had. So I'm with you that maybe running back in the first round is the smoke screen, because they've been constantly talking about how they got a practice squad player who's going to be super great. A.T. Perry, he's supposed to be the next star that never even got on the field last year. So, it's like, it's one of those things where it just seems like they're downplaying it so much that it's like, they've what is the saying, how the saying goes in the Shakespeare play, where they doth protest too much, but the opposite, where they don't protest at all. So that something's up their sleeve.
Yeah, man, I have no idea which way Sean's going to go. That's why I love poking fun at everybody who says they do. Right. And we've got some good ones here in Denver, and we've got some really bad ones here in Denver, man. And like, you could say per source, and that means it's going to happen. Just trust me. I'm wrong every year. It's just one of these things, man, where like nobody knows, because Sean has so much gamesmanship. Sean is so paranoid. I mean, I think he really is cut from the same cloth as one Mike Shanahan. He's like the new generation of Mike Shanahan, once removed or something like that, man. I know he's got that paranoid head coaching personality. I know he doesn't want to let anything slip. I do wonder if he's using his daughter a little bit for smoke screen, saying, put that mock draft out there. Tell everybody I want Ashton Genty, and look, I'm actually going to go this way instead. That wouldn't surprise anybody. I do wonder what the conversations are like. Like nobody really talks about that, right? Don't you wonder what it's like when George picks up the phone, when Sean picks up the phone? I mean, is it on speakerphone? And it's just like you call the Giants, you call Jacksonville, and it's who talks first? Is it George? George says, "Hi, this is George Payton. I'm with the Denver Broncos." Or is it like Sean? Sean's like, "Sup, this is Peyton." Like what kind of how do these trades work? Do you think, man? Like, who do you think's doing the wheeling? Who do you think's doing the dealing? Is it I'll call you back? There are some teams allegedly, reportedly, whatever I gotta say, that won't even pick up the phone for Howie Roseman because he's such a gangster and picks the great players every year. What do you think those conversations are like, Tom, in the draft war room or in the coach's room leading up to?
I think that they probably already had some preliminary conversations with teams like already. Like, what is your appetite for a trade if X, Y, and Z happens? We're looking to trade up or we're looking to trade back just to get a feel for what's going on. I've never been in a war room. I just assume. I mean, that's what I would do. I'd get some feelers out there, and then that's the way. It's not a big surprise. You already kind of know who to contact when the draft is happening, because you only got 15 minutes per round, unless it went to 10 this year. I can't remember. So you don't have a whole lot of time. So you already got to get prepared and know who you're going to call at what point, whether or not they're just going to be, no, we're not trading. Why waste your time doing it? So I think they made those preparations, but I bet it's a little bit hectic. And I bet you that it's probably George Payton making those calls in the first round.
And you're doing the chores, right? Like making the chores and reporting back to daddy, so to speak. And then Big Daddy makes the call and Sean Payton. Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, you're probably right, man. And it's interesting. I'd have to go back and check, and maybe Broncos country could help me a little bit here. Is this, or how often does it happen where the picks are all still locked in before the draft? Meaning, what, a year ago, 2 years ago, is it Chicago, Carolina? They swapped picks for Caleb and everything like that and gave up a haul. We see it happen. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, 24 hours or so before the draft, right now. Maybe we see that. Maybe these things are happening as we speak. WJB, William James Baker from across the pond. Hopefully you're doing well, buddy. I'm not trying to attack you or anything. You're my boy. Sean is not trading back, man. He's not doing it. What's the matter with all of you people? It's not what I would do. You think Sean's going to say, yeah, let's go bargain shopping at the NFL draft. See you at pick 32. No way. And you have to have a first-round pick if you're Sean Payton, because the fifth-year option is so damn important. Rookie contracts are so damn important. William, I love you. I know you're trying to get value. Sean Payton doesn't give a damn about value. Sean Payton gives a damn about winning games, and he has to be right. That is the most important thing. The position, the player, doesn't really matter. They have to work out.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, go check out, I tweeted this out. So I went and I ran the numbers of the probabilities of moving up from 20 versus staying at 20 and moving back. And 62 was actually I think the pick that I put in there that you would get. So I looked at what it would be if you moved up to 12 and traded your second rounder and moved up, stayed pat, or if you moved back and kept your second and got another second right after that. The probability of picking an impact player is at the highest, even if you include all of those picks together, if you move up slightly, not trading too much to move up too far, but move up, 8 positions. That's where you're going to get the most probability for success for an impact player. Trading back, you have more probability of getting a starting type player, but that's not what the Broncos need. The Broncos have good starting players. They need an impact player, and they need some more depth. And that's why I'm saying trade up this year. I'm always for trading back and getting more picks typically. They've opened their Super Bowl championship window. They have their quarterback. They need to get some impact players. That's why I'm pushing this year to go with the most probability of getting that impact player. And that's why you trade up, not trade back this year, regardless of how deep this draft is that everybody says. Like I said, 24% of the first rounders bust. For the last, almost 15 years. That's what it is. So you're not always right, no matter what your evaluations are. Use the probability, trade up, get that impact player, get some more depth, fill in a couple other spots. Hopefully one of them pops as a starter, or maybe even an impact player, a couple, in those couple later rounds down the road. But you got to get at least one. You have to get at least one to get yourselves a better shot at having that championship window open next year.
Yeah, look how many they had last year in the draft, right? As rookies. That's the expectation here too, right? Like that Bronco rookie class in 2024 could have ruined it for the rest of the rookies because it's like, hey, yeah, did you see what those guys did as rookies, right? Bo and the kids. Yeah, we're doing it again. And you need to be better than they were so we can get even further. It's interesting how the draft is advanced with society. What do I mean by that? We're all degenerates and everybody's gambling these days. Man, talk about a gamble. One thing I would stay away from. And when I say like I like to have a little fun here and there, it's small, right? And Scott can attest to it, dude. Like I'll send Scott, I won $5 on like a 299, something ridiculous. But people betting on the draft, man, holy cow, that's something I would stay away from. I saw Kay Adams and a few other really successful folks in our business throwing out odds, Shador odds, Jackson Dart odds, and I'm just like, man, that is something. How could you tell? There's really no way. Michael Davis, man, I wanted to give you a huge shout out. I see you in the chat. You've been super active tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to MHI with Tom, Broncos Country, and yours truly. I'm warming up to the idea of Mason Taylor at tight end lately. Here's the problem, Mike. He's going to be gone. They will be, I told you earlier in the show, there are going to be 3 tight ends taken. I believe Mason Taylor is going to be that 3rd tight end in the first round. It's just a feeling. Everybody's looking for that new tight end, right? Everybody's looking for the tight end from Kansas City. And what's going on with George Kittle? Speaking of tight ends, George Kittle, like I do kind of wonder if Sean had a feeling George Kittle was so unhappy if he would have still signed Evan Ingram. I don't know if the Broncos are poking around there or a potential trade. Is George Kittle going to be moved on draft day? I don't know, man. It's just so interesting, but I am with you. I love the kid out of LSU. Taylor, I like him more than the kid from Miami. That's why I do think he's going to creep in there at the bottom of the first round. I don't know if a team like Philly wants to go younger at tight end, right? You always got to be looking to help Jalen a little bit, but tight end, man, I love tight ends. Tight ends are a fun position as well. I'm with you, Tom. 2nd and 3rd all the way. You could get a whole bunch of them. Maybe even Bo Nix's former Bay from Oregon, right?
Yeah, I think a sweet spot is the 3rd round for tight ends. I really do. I think there's a few in that are projected to be in that round that you actually would be pretty confident, and you don't have to have them be that stud out of the gate because you went out and signed Ingram. He's going to be the guy next year, and then you take a chance on a 3rd rounder who could pop and become one of those surprises that everybody was didn't see coming. In year 2 and year 3. And I think it's the sweet spot for that tight end position. I really do. 3rd round. That's why I'm not for a 1st round tight end, because you look at where you look at these stud tight ends, where they've gone lately. You got 2nd rounders, 3rd rounders, you got 5th rounders that really have turned into something. Now, I know you don't always hit on them, and people forget about all the players that didn't make it. When it comes to, you're talking about, you can always find a running back later. Well, you can't always find these players later. But when you look at the numbers and you look at tight end has a very similar probability of becoming an impact player in the 3rd round as they do in the 1st round, based on the history of the draft. And like I said, evaluations can be wrong. Trust the numbers a little bit. Just trust them a little bit.
No, I agree with you, man. It's something, Sean Payton believes in analytics. I mean, he came in here and said that from day one. He leans on his analytics. He leans on his guys, his gals. I mean, it's been a lot out there. I got to push back against this one a little bit. Roy, my guy over on Facebook. What's up, Roy? Happy draft eve to you and yours. Let us know who you want in the draft this year. All right. Besides Bo Nix, who was the true guy from last year's draft that made the difference? Because I don't see anyone. Man, here you got me. And maybe this was you baited me, Roy, and you got me to see it. Hook, line, and sinkers. The kids call that trolling, right? Jonah Ellis. Can I point to Jonah Ellis first? I really like this kid. 3rd round pick, number 76 overall. Making his old man proud. Former chaplain of the Denver Broncos and 1-year pass rusher with your Denver Broncos as well. 17 games, 5 sacks, 24 tackles. Man, Jonah Ellis was part of the statistic that literally helped the Broncos reset the franchise sack record over and over again. Audric Estime towards the end of the season, yeah, he fell off. I'm with you there. He wasn't even active for the Buffalo Bills game. But Devon Bailey, we continue to talk about Devon Bailey as well. Round 7, number 235. What are they putting in the water out there in Utah? um, so you look at least 3 players there that I could think of. I know we didn't see like the Nick Garagiololos of the world, right? Number 7th round center or guard. But I mean, 3 players right there, Roy. You don't like that?
I'll agree with you, Roy. Bo made a difference. He's a difference maker. Jonah Ellis wasn't a difference maker, but he was the best after Bo, the best draft pick that they had. I think he made a difference in the rotation. He got a lot more pass rush juice than we were expecting. He held his own when it was time to rotate those players. So he did make a difference in that respect because they could have had a much worse rotation. He wasn't a difference maker yet, but he definitely was a good, solid pick. I'm with you. Vele was a huge surprise, not a difference maker, but he played a lot, and that was a pretty solid pickup. But I think Abrams Drain might surprise people next year as well. He's going to be in that rotation, in the cornerback rotation that to come in those nickel and dime packages that you need that extra DB in there. So I think he's a solid pick too. But you're right, no difference makers, but they did make a bit of a difference.
Yeah, you got to hit, man. I know we're all jazzed up for the first round, but you got to hit on the second round, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and even 7th and beyond. Tom, not to put you on the spot here, but Phil knows you're all about those analytics and you're all about probabilities and living in a little thing that we like to call reality here on MHI. Tom, with your football knowledge, what do you look at and what's your understanding? What do you make of undrafted free agencies? What's kind of a success rate or history, or what's your overall look when it comes to your approach with undrafted FAs?
Well, I've never done any sort of analytics on undrafted free agents. I've done the draft. The thing with the undrafted free agents, the reason why they seem like so many of them succeed is because so many of them get invited, right?
Low
you
risk.
have 7 rounds
it's a low
draft.
risk.
Yeah, you get 5, 6, 7 of these undrafted players, and so you get you have more opportunity for them to pop than you do for just the regular draft because typically, you get more of them. So. But again, it goes back to the valuation. You miss on these undrafted guys, you don't realize how good they could be, and some of them pop. Now the Broncos have had a great track record. I think they've gone 21 out of 22 years with at least one undrafted free agent making the team, and last year was a few, and the year before that was a few more. So I think the percentages are probably small because there's so many of them in there, but it seems bigger because they get talked about more, and there's more of them to choose from. So it seems like more of them hit than actually do. But I would venture a guess that more undrafted free agents from college make it in the NFL than 7th rounders. That I have not done the numbers on it, but I bet more make it than 7th round picks.
That's really interesting you say that. It does kind of have that gloss and that feel to it, right? Like it's a low risk scenario, and that's life, right? You have to constantly weigh the risk versus the benefit and figure out if it's worth taking the plunge. I don't know, man. That's the whole draft. That's this whole thing. Quentin Caldwell coming in, man. I took the half a day off for the draft on Friday. Good for you, man. Nice. Seriously, like, I was watching the news. I know, shame on me. And they were doing a report talking about, believe it or not, millennials have a really hard time taking PTO and personal time off. And I'm ashamed to say I am part of that generation. I like to think I'm trying to bring it back to some sort of degree of respectability, Tom. But you should take your day off, man. People work hard, reward yourself, work hard, play hard. And if watching half the draft on your couch, having some snacks, grilling, chilling with your boys, your family is your thing, then hot damn, go do it. I absolutely love it, man. I will talk about a quick draft day nightmare for me that I can't seem to shake off, man. And one of my just picks that I couldn't stand that the Broncos made way back when. I don't know if you remember, Tom, some guy named one Timothy Tebow. I was irate. I lost my mind way back when in 2010 at the ripe age of 19 years old. Right. I think it was Demaryius Thomas out of Georgia Tech. And then out of nowhere, Josh McDaniels trades back up into the first round, pick number 25, and Mr. Heisman himself, all the way from the swamps of Florida. Tim Tebow came to Denver, and I absolutely hated it, man. Thank God Peyton Manning decided to come to the Denver Broncos, because the Tebow years, that was my least favorite pick the Broncos have ever made, if I'm being honest, Tom.
Wow. Okay.
I
Wow.
can't stand Tim Tebow.
I wasn't a big fan of the pick because he was we didn't have the passing skills that were like the drop back quarterback, but it was fun, man. It was fun to watch him that year in 2011. And so it was nice to see that. The worst pick in the first round that I just hated was Willie Middlebrooks. You probably don't even remember him.
No, I knew you were going to say that.
Shanahan into getting Willie Middlebrooks, a DB that a cornerback that ended up being a bust. I was just like, why are they reaching for this guy? And it turns out that Ray Rhodes, I believe it was Ray Rhodes, the defensive coordinator at the time, talked Shanahan into going and getting him. And it was just,
well, he spent like his whole career in NFL Europe, right? Like NFL Europe was the early 2000s, right? Like NFL Europe was a thing. So like you'd get a bunch of these Broncos players here, and then they would be exiled almost, like the guys that couldn't play halfway across the world to NFL Europe and these developmental spring leagues and everything else. I don't know, man. It's weird.
I loved NFL Europe. I loved it, man. I love seeing it because they would send these developmental prospects, so 7th rounders, 6th rounders that need a little bit more seasoning. They'd send them out there. I remember a lot of offensive linemen for the Broncos went there and came back and end up, participating, playing. Some of them starting. I love watching NFL Europe. It was fun. It used to be the World Football League, then became NFL Europe. But I think I can't even remember it was early 2000s when they stopped playing out in there, I think. Yeah. But I can't remember when they shuttered that whole organization.
Yeah, Chad waited real quick behind the scenes. Jarvis Moss, I forgot about Jarvis Moss, man. Jarvis Moss, dude, number 17 overall back in 2007. Yeah, man. Was he a Florida Gator? If memory serves. What up, big dog? There he is.
Yeah, Florida Gator.
One of those damn Team Tebow Gators, just a little bit earlier, right?
Dude, that's actually the second time that I did that today. I did it. My son got a hold of my phone, and I was in the middle of tweeting out a video on Mile High Huddle X, right? And I set it down to like grab something. I hadn't posted it yet. Turn around. Next thing I know, my son's got my phone. He's 3, almost 4. And I'm like, whoa, I grabbed the phone, and he had posted just some video. And so I had to hurry and delete that. And then just now I go to turn on my cam, and I forgot, dude, that when you're in the green room, you turn on your cam. It just automatically puts you on camera. So sorry to crash the party.
No. Well, night. You know what? While we got you here, this is the last show before the draft. Pick 20, Chad. Are the Broncos even going to be there?
I think so. Well, I don't think they'll trade back, though. It's Sean Payton. It's not in his nature. So they'll either trade up or stay put, and I just don't see him trading up for Ashton Genty because you'd have to get really, really, really far up the board. And is it really worth that? I kind of share Tom's philosophy on that front. As much as I dig Ashton Genty, and he was impressive in person too at the combine, like he's a force to be reckoned with. But I think they stay put.
I love it. A bold take from one Chad Jensen. Guys, stay tuned. Chad will be in and out of the NFL draft. He's going to be working very hard over at milehighhuddle.com. You can read all of Chad's latest right now and for the draft, right? Chad's got your back. We all have your back here at MHH. Our guys are going to be working very, very hard during this draft. We're going to get gut reactions. We're going to let you know who the picks are, where they came from, how they're going to fit into the Broncos offense, and more. Do us a favor, guys. Give us the @MHI_pod a follow. We need to beef those numbers up. Those are rookie scores, as the pizza guy in New York would say, right? Portnoy. We got to beef those numbers up just a little bit. We really appreciate everybody's energy, everybody's candor, and everybody's generosity to here tonight on our NFL Draft Primer. I know the boys had a lot of fun with the war room last night, the mock draft. Tom, I'm excited. I'm nervous. Knees weak. Arms are heavy. Mom's spaghetti. My hands are sweaty. All of it, man. I'm so excited. The NFL draft is here, baby.
Yeah. Hey, and if anybody out there wants to understand the draft trade, so if you have a question about a trade, say Broncos traded up, you want to know if it was a good trade based on probability values, whether or not they're going to get an impact player, hit me up on Twitter. I'll give you the lowdown. I have a dashboard ready to go. I'll pull up the numbers, and you can. I'll tell you whether it was worth it or not, or whether they got a steal or got robbed. So let me know.
For the record, I think the Broncos are going to get Omari and Hampton. They're going to trade up within the top 15 to grab him. Tom, on the way out, give me a prediction.
Yeah, I think they're trading up, but I'm going to stick with the wide receiver, Egbuka. I think they're going to go up and get him. I think it's been a smoke screen this whole time. They're going to trade up a few spots to nab and make sure they get him and try for that running back in round 2.
I absolutely love it. Broncos country, be good to each other. Take care. Have a blast during this NFL draft. And most importantly, stay locked into Mile High Huddle, where we have your back. Nonstop coverage. We've got you covered. If you'd like to reach out to Tom, please do so over on X at Thomas Hall NFL. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP, the mothership at Mile High Huddle, and also head on over to milehighhuddle.com. We appreciate you, Broncos country, into round 1 of the 2025 NFL draft. This is the way.
This is the way.